Awesome. Welcome to Economy of One. And today we're going to be talking about the story of you and why it is so important to get this critical component right. We've brought in the expert of experts, Frank Bonura, who is just so profound in his ability to condense things. And we've asked one of our participants in the small group, RuthAnn, to join us to share her story. And we're so glad, RuthAnn, you are here today. So RuthAnn, tell us a little bit about yourself so the audience knows a little bit about you.
I have a background in IT. My undergrad degree is in math and computer science. I realized I started wanting to do more of the soft side, the more of the people. And so I have done some teaching at the college level, some training. My COVID job is working at Hy-Vee because I knew I wouldn't shelter in place well. But for me, it's been difficult because I have this kind of checkered past and I have lots of skills. I feel like I'm that spinning top. I don't really know where to focus, what to take forward, what do I really want to do versus, well, I can help a company with that, but then I get really bored quickly. And so that kind of thing. That's where I am today. I'm really needing some help with the story of you.
So what's been difficult in your job search?
My job search has been that I look at jobs and I become very, very excited. And then I sit and think for maybe a day and it's like, oh yeah, that's going to last 6 months. So I need a template to compare these jobs against. What's really going to hold my interest and what am I interested in doing? Because I want to serve people and organizations, and how can I best do that with what are my best skills?
Good question. So what did you hope when you joined Economy of One? You joined one of our small groups. What did you hope it would accomplish for you?
A small group will then be your mastermind team. They're going to be your support. They're going to be there and they know you. So I was really excited about that. And the opportunity to work through the workbook and to have some help with that, because I'm kind of all over the place. I'm checkered. I'm a spinning top. So I need some focus. I'm reasonably smart. I have lots of skills. I have lots of abilities, but it's time to really get focused.
Let's talk about what you've struggled with in the story of you. Give me just an overview of what you feel like you've really struggled with here.
Well, I've struggled with this. I've gone through some of the exercises. Have you look at your past? Oh yeah, I'm really good at that. And then I go to Hy-Vee and yeah, it's online shopping, but I know how to be a leader, so I'm a leader. I see things and I make suggestions, and I don't care how high up the ladder you are. I will talk to you about it. Well, I'm good at that. Right. And so it's been kind of what am I using at the moment? What have I caught? It's like what flies by right now. So it's getting focused. It really is. I need to be focused.
So we've brought in the master of ceremonies, Frank Bonura, who is brilliant at walking through what the story of you is, what it is not, why it's important, and what does best practice look like. So how do people who use the story of you use it daily and in their interest to move forward? So Frank, tell us about what it is.
One of the things that people have a tendency to complicate is the story of you or the story of them. It's really not that complicated. I know that's easy for me to say, so to speak. The story of you is not an elevator pitch. I've always hated those 30-second elevator pitches that focuses on someone else. And the biggest issue with an elevator pitch is you don't even understand the person that you're pitching to, what's important to them or meaningful to them, or, do they even want to hear what you have to say? So the story of you really has what I believe, three major components, right? First is your functional passion. People, that word passion gets used and misused and overused very much, but we're talking about functional passion. And when I say functional passion, what I'm referring to is, what is it that you could be doing, or that you would be doing, or would like to do every day functionally? Forget about title,
Mm-hmm.
because title doesn't tell you really very often what a person does or doesn't do,
Mm-mm.
right? So
Right.
avoid titles. Also avoid industries or segments of business, because I'm telling you, RuthAnn, we don't know each other that well, but just what I have learned about you, read about you, observed about you, your core competencies can cut across all industry
Mm-hmm.
and segment lines,
Yeah.
right? So no
Right.
titles, don't worry about industry right now. Focus on what it is you want to do functionally every day, and what, and really, and I mean this literally, when you define what it is you want to do functionally every day, it needs to create so much adrenaline that
Mm-hmm.
you can't even sleep, because you can't wait to go do that thing every day, right?
Yeah.
If it's not, but no, and really, I mean that. If that doesn't exist, then it's not an opportunity, it's a job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, if somebody needs a job to feed their families and pay their mortgage, that's okay. But the whole purpose here of the of economy of one is that, you create, identify, and achieve the opportunity that you desire and are deserving of. So you need to have that feeling. I talk to people often about, it's like the first time that they, the wife or girlfriend, the first time they go on a date together. Everybody's all fixed up, excited. Oh, can't. Well, that's what it needs to feel like. And if you don't have that feeling, then it's a job. The second component, I would say, is the most important component, is the culture that your personal style best maps to. Oh, I know that the three of us have been around long enough to know that if people don't like each other,
Nothing
nothing
matters.
else matters.
That's right.
You could be the greatest talent on the planet. They could offer you the greatest opportunity on the planet. If you don't like each other, it's over before it starts, right?
Yes.
And, companies are made up of people. So
Mm-hmm.
companies, when I say culture, it's really identifying what company or corporate personality your
Mm-hmm.
personal style best maps to. I've had people, well, Frank, what do you mean company culture? What, how do I map to that? Or how do I figure out how I align with that? Think about the company as an individual, because it's made up of people, right? So
Right.
you have an enterprise wide culture, but then you also have departmental cultures. Believe me, the culture, well, you said you're at Hy-Vee right
Mm-hmm.
now. Okay.
Right.
Well, I guarantee you the checkers probably have a little bit of a different culture than the guys or the people, gals back in the warehouse, right?
Oh yeah.
Sales is different than finance. So you have global cultures, enterprise-wide cultures, and then individual department cultures. So you need to really identify both and how well you fit and map to. And then you look at a company as a friend or a personality, the personality of a friend. If a company was an individual, what would draw you to them? So I have individuals ask me about the whole corporate culture thing, and they're trying to figure it out, and what I mean by that. And so I tell them to look at a company like when you meet someone, you're trying to determine whether or not they're a friend, right? Same kind of thing, because
Right.
companies are made up of people. So the same kind of characteristics that you would very often look for in a friend, very often, those are the same type of characteristics you want in a company that you're considering going to work for or consulting for or whatever it might be. But culture is huge. The third piece of the story of you uh, is about what are you great at, right? And you might have 20 great skills, and that's okay to list all of those, because that's a part of
Mm-hmm.
your, what Elizabeth and I, economy of one, we talk about your warehouse of skills, your warehouse of talent,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but what we want you to do is to prioritize those skills. And at
Mm-hmm.
some future point, when you start actually taking yourself to market, so to speak, or putting all this to practice, you'll pull from whatever that list, whatever talent is needed to make the point to a business owner or business leader, which is, I'm going to use this skill or these skills or these core competencies to come in and do what you need to have done the way you need to have it done, and do it profitably. That's the whole point of your story. And the more well, that's one of the major points, right? So that you can communicate the appropriate value proposition message to a prospective client, prospective employer, whatever it might be. So, but it's important, RuthAnn, that it's as concise as possible. I mean, when you
Okay.
meet people, they're going to remember, and I don't know, maybe you do, Elizabeth, the percentage, but I think my opinion, if they remember 25% of what comes out of your mouth, when you're finished, you're doing good. It needs to be concise because you want to make it easy for people to recall, right? They're at a dinner party,
Yes.
they're meeting with somebody says bang, 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 then go, wait a minute. RuthAnn, she wants to do this, and the culture is this, and she's great at that. That's what she just said they need. Hey, you know what? You need to call RuthAnn. It's easy recall, and it's easy for them as banner wavers to put that on the banner they're waving for you on an ongoing basis.
What is a banner waiver, Frank?
Yeah, so a banner waiver is basically your relationships.
I'm just going to say these are your best relationships, actually. They are the people who are committed to helping you connect with other people where you can add value.
Well, what they're helping you do is identify and create opportunities. And
Right.
all of that implies, right? So your banner waivers are essentially your best relationships. Some of your not so great relationships can also be banner waivers for you, right? Somebody that you don't have a great, a tier one relationship with, so to speak. Even for them to know what it is that you can do and what you can do for others, the value you can create, what you want to do, can be a advantage too, because they might want to introduce you to someone that because they know you'll create value for that person to make them look good. But see, here's the thing, RuthAnn. Once you answer those three questions, your story, functional passion, the culture you best map to, and then 3, what are you great at, and prioritize the things that you're great at.
Functional passion is what exactly, Frank?
Is what when you close your eyes and you envision what it is that you will be doing every day from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock at night. What would you be doing at work on a daily basis that would create so much adrenaline, again, that you can't sleep because you can't wait to go do it the next day? That's functional passion. Now, and understand too, the reason we want you to prioritize what you're great at is because we're going to focus on those things that you're great at, especially the top 1, 2, or 3. And those are the things that you're going to use the core competencies to help a business owner, as I said earlier, help them understand how you're going to make him or her more money, more profitable. Now, so once you answer those 3 questions, there's only one more question to answer. And that is how you're going to use those 3 things in what sector, for what company. Are you going to use those, say, top 3 great talents for what company and what sector to create the greatest amount of value and opportunity for all? Once you answer the first 3, then the goal moving forward is to identify the company and sector where you can leverage those 3 things. Does that make sense?
Right. So it's the story of you, Frank, that actually determines your market strategy to position that story in order to open doors to create opportunity.
That is correct, because this gets into the whole retrofitting that we talk about. And the reason why 80% of the people that go to work every day are unhappy is because they do just the opposite. They see a paycheck or a job, and even some cases an opportunity, retrofit themselves to be what someone else wants, which isn't what they want. The fact that they're getting a paycheck is great for a week or 2 or a month, and then they get up every day hating where they're going, which has all kinds of negative byproducts. So what the story of you allows you to do is to figure out, like businesses do. This is like RuthAnn Enterprises. You figure out what you're great at, the product, the services you have to offer, and then you go find the people that need what you offer. Why in the world would anybody want to go to work at a company where you're not doing what you love to do, they're not leveraging what you're great at, in a culture that you're not happy with? That's what since I was like a kid and I got in this business at 19, I've never understood that. It doesn't make any sense to me. So this story allows you to have something when you do have opportunities become available, and if you follow our best practices and you do it often and you really dive into it, this process always succeeds. We can't tell you when. That's the $1 million question, but that's up to you, but it always works. Then you can take an opportunity lay it over the top of your story and say, hell, it fits, right? You're good to go, right? I'm as an executive agent, I have people I represent. This is what I do. This is what I do. I'm an agent for them. I know what they're great at. What do? I'm going to find companies that need what they have to offer. And I'm going to call them and say, look, you have these challenges and these issues. My client can address them. Do you want to talk? Right? And it's a hell of a lot more fun when you're talking to people that need what you have to offer and you're talking to them about what you love to do, right? That's the difference between being an opportunity creator and being a job paycheck seeker. Okay.
And that is really important because this distinguishes Economy of One from every other resource out there who is teaching you how to just go get a job, get another paycheck, be part of the 80% that hate what they do.
Yeah.
So let's talk for a moment, Frank, about best practice. What does it look like?
A client of ours, created his story. We've shared that with others, and RuthAnn, we shared it with you. You'll notice that in the story of Tim, I mean, he focuses and specifically mentions in that story passion, functional passion, culture, and what he's great at. And I mean, it's like a paragraph. He can communicate that story on cue whenever he needs to inside of a minute.
So what you're looking at right now is the story of you that is an example of best practice. And so now we're going to take this idea of best practice and apply it to RuthAnn. So we're going to watch the magic happen. This is where Lucky Charms comes out of the box. All right, Frank, let's walk RuthAnn through the story of her, starting with her passion, talking about corporate culture, and where she adds value.
Yeah, so RuthAnn, the first question is, what is it that you would be doing daily, functionally, creating value and impact for ABC Corporation that would create that adrenaline that we talk about? How would you define that? What is that?
Well, I'm certified in coaching now and leadership coaching. And I have always done this. I just didn't know what it was. That I am good at listening to you and asking that transformative question that just pops open the rose, take the rose bud and bloom it into a rose.
So you're really good at helping a CEO or a business owner think outside of the box and maybe look at a different way of doing business.
Yeah, doing business. Yeah. What is it you want? What is it you need to transform? Where are you right now? I can help you with that. Do you want some examples?
Okay, so what are some examples of how you believe you could help a business owner get there and transform his or her business?
I was working with a business owner talking, and it was I've got this employee that's just not fitting in, and described the ripple effect and how that's played out over 8 years, and the employee finally left. Well, it seems simple now. At what point in your hiring career did you hire this person? Oh, they were one of my first hires before I had learned how to do that. So then they were able to go back and really put into place their own hiring practices.
What you want to do every day is help a business owner address challenges and issues that would help him or her be more profitable, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that would be, if you were in that role, maybe as part of a company's think tank. There are companies out there that have think tanks, right?
Really?
Yeah.
That would be exciting.
I've never been invited, but they do have them. But
I'll tell you about it.
So for you, RuthAnn, that is, if you were doing that, you'd be doing cartwheels every day on the way to work. Anything you'd want to add to that? I'm not saying you need to. I'm just asking the question. That's good enough.
Those are good examples. I mean, that's a very good example and a very good description. I think I'm everybody's favorite aunt, and I treat people that way. Let me help you.
Okay.
We'll work through this.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now, what culture do you believe your personal style best maps to?
Nice
if a company
people.
were your best friend, How would you define them? Or it, maybe I should say.
We need to be nice. We say please, we say thank you. If things change, then we talk about it. And that's my best description.
Well, think about it also. I mean, if somebody says, hey, do you love where you work, RuthAnn? What would need to be within the environment for you to say to someone, I love where I work? What would that need to look like?
Okay, I need to like the people. We need to be nice to each other. My boss has my back and I have my boss's back.
Okay.
And that is respected within the organization.
Okay. Okay. So that's what you would need in terms of culture? Good.
Yep.
Now, third question. What do you believe are your top 3 best, greatest talents?
My greatest talents are asking those transformative questions and develop. So that's part of that developing people for me, or developing the organization. I think that's fun. I know it's an illness. And working to expand that team, that corporate culture, to that consistent change so that you can expand and bring in new people. People leave, new people come in, and you have to bring them in. I just think that it's just constant change. Life changes and we have to adapt to it.
Especially
And
in businesses.
Yeah, I understand that, RuthAnn, but I want to know what specifically are your talents? It's not a sentence or 2 or 3. It's specific. Is it change management? Is it transformation? What are your, so I'm putting words in your mouth, but what are your best talents?
I don't know if I know.
Okay. Well, you need to think about that, right? So an athlete, great talent, fast, great hitter, great throwing arm, whatever it might be, or a CEO, great visionary, operations in terms of being a visionary, discovering issues, challenges. You want to
Good
know.
with transformation, and I'm good with change.
Okay, so you're really good at transformation. You're good at maybe thinking outside of the box. You're
thinking beyond.
But what are the specific, just list for me and Elizabeth, and for yourself more importantly, list for me what you believe are the 3 greatest talents that you have that will enable you to do what you want to do functionally every day. Because see, those are the things that you need to get your arms around, RuthAnn, so that you can communicate to a business owner how you're going to do what you want to do every day and do it profitably, right? So saying you can do something, that's one thing. Talking about specifically the core competencies that you'll employ to make that happen, that's a different topic. You can say, look, here are my core competencies. It's like when somebody takes their car into a shop and the mechanic does the diagnostics and it goes back in the warehouse and gets the parts they need to fix the car. There's lots of parts there, but okay, here are the specific problems with the car. Here are the parts that are going to fix this car, right? Okay, so if I'm a business owner and you're saying, hey, Frank, I can help you transform your business. Okay, I'm going to ask you, well, how? So when you think about your functional passion, you need to then say, okay, well, here's what I want to do. And this I think this will be very valuable for a business owner or business leader. Under what conditions, what challenges and issues is a business owner going to be experiencing, right? That I'm going to be able to do what I love to do and do it for this person profitably in the way that they need to have it done. So you have what you want to do, the outcome you want to reach. Now, what are the tools you possess, the talents you possess to make that a reality and to do so profitably? You look a little perplexed. Is that my fault?
Because this is where this is where I always get. No, I don't think it's your fault. I think it's mine. This is
Well,
where
that's the kind of this process.
Want to know.
This process is real work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the
Yeah.
other end, RuthAnn, you have something concrete and rock solid that you're excited about, enthusiastic about, and that will be your fuel to
Yeah.
go talk to people that are experiencing those kinds of challenges and issues. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
know what you love to do, what you're great at, before you know what your target is.
Right.
Because by the way, what you're talking about, you want to do functionally, cuts across all segments and industries and sectors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's a different
Yeah.
conversation when you go pursue the one that you're most interested in. But right now, we're just talking about you having a story
Mm-hmm.
that you're excited about, that makes sense, that you can go take to the right companies to say, hey, because in that you'll see, and I think you have the example, RuthAnn, but where he listed the things that he's great at, and you can see how specific that is, right? And that template that you have, you'll see where Tim, as an example, is very specific, and a lot of thought went into that.
Right.
But I'm telling you, RuthAnn, and we tell people not to do anything until they create this, because really it's just a big old waste of time. This takes a lot of work, and people want it to be like an elevator pitch, and that's not how this works. But once you have this story locked down, man, RuthAnn, I'm telling you, it becomes so much more fun, so much easier, and such a
Yeah.
time saver for you. It really does.
I'm sure it is. I'm
So
sure it is.
here's what I heard RuthAnn say. I took a
Would
few.
you please?
Yes, here's what I heard you say, RuthAnn, that you ask transformational questions.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom always said that 50% to getting to an answer is asking the right question.
Yes. Yes. I discovered I was good at this right out of college, and I was too stupid to realize it was good. I had no idea what we were doing. I was working with the experts in the industry. We would get to a point, and it's like, okay, RuthAnn, we're here. What's the next question? And I would just start asking the question. I didn't understand what we were doing, but I knew the question to ask. And so they would talk to each other, and then they would look at me and say, RuthAnn, what's the next question?
Hey,
And that's
Elizabeth,
what I'm good at.
Right.
I want to point something out. Do you see how she just lit up like a Christmas tree?
Yes, I did. Totally.
That's what I do well. I'm not good at it. I can implement, and I'm good at it,
Mhm.
but I don't light up. I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. But if you can let me sit here, look at something and ask the question, and I don't remember the details. I don't even sometimes know the question I ask and why it was important. And this is something I've done for my friends. They'll be talking about, oh, working on this, and I'll ask a question and like, thank you, that was so helpful. And they'll even tell me why it was helpful. I have no clue, but I know they got what they needed. And that in and of itself is just a rush. Yeah.
So, okay, so one of those points, I believe, based on what you're saying, is the ability to identify the right questions, because
Mm-hmm.
50% of getting to the right answer is asking the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
And you also can apply that thinking within the context of organizational development and growth strategy and change.
Okay,
So,
this is going to be recorded. I don't have to write this down.
well, I would write it down if I were you.
Okay.
And it's because you need to internalize how you want to say this.
Yes.
In my opinion, if I had your skills, RuthAnn,
Mm-hmm.
what I would be doing is saying, okay, who needs these skills? Who needs to be asking the right question to get to where they want to go? And it's almost like we're interviewing you for a job at Economy of One, because candidly, our audience is exactly this group. Our,
Okay.
our audience, when I think of the Small Business Association, the SBA,
Mm-hmm.
and the people who come to them seeking a loan,
Yep.
they have to answer tough questions to get that loan.
Yes.
You would be a very helpful coach to help with that process of how do I scale this business? How do I show return to a bank? How do I show financial growth that is going to be necessary for me to qualify for this loan?
Mm-hmm.
And business wise, how do I grow? And our country right now, if there was ever a time for people like you, it is now. Our country is throttling small businesses. And
Oh
so
yeah.
a lot of people are asking the question, how do I survive? How do I manage cash flow? How do I pare down my number of employees to get to our core function and where we are most profitable?
Hmm.
So think outside the box and
Hey,
start having.
Elizabeth, due diligence,
Yeah,
areas that would require due diligence,
yes,
right? Of
yes,
private equity, people doing M&A, mergers and acquisitions.
Yes.
yes.
Oh, that's, I think that would be so much fun.
when you were a data analyst, RuthAnn, didn't you
Yeah.
do some of this? I mean,
Oh yeah.
analyzing
Well,
data.
when I was, yeah, you analyze data and you would say, hey, I think I see a correlation here. And you would say, I think this is it. And what I realized is I don't want to do the data. I want to use the data,
Okay.
which is, it took me a long time to get there.
So Frank, let's condense this down. Let's take
Okay.
a shot condensing this down. Let's talk about culturally who you want to work with, RuthAnn, because that's a second piece of this. We've talked about you can lead people to ask the right question,
Mhm.
and 50% to getting to the right solution is asking the right question. Now,
Mhm.
so the type of people you'd like to ask questions to and with, who are those people? What does this company look like?
I want people who are reasonably articulate. I want people who are bright. They know what their job is. They are the expert in what it is they do. They know what, I don't want to talk to somebody new. I want to talk to somebody who's good at what they do.
Okay.
I want to work with somebody who doesn't care if I wear reasonably nice clothes, comfortable shoes, and pearls. I don't care how they dress. But it's okay if I dress that way
Well, you
because
just
that's where I
expanded.
am most comfortable.
You just expanded she just expanded her culture definition, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And because that's where I'm most comfortable. It's where I work best. Yeah, we're all hanging at home now, and I decided that if we're going to have this conversation, and when I work on these things, I need to dress appropriately because that's what call center telemarketers are required to do in good, successful organizations. And so that's what I need to do. And what kind of people do I want to work with? I want to work with people that are willing to grow, to move beyond, whether that be whatever it is. I say I want to work with educated people. That doesn't necessarily mean formal education. That means people that have tried to better themselves, and however better needs to be.
I'm going to just share with you
Please.
where I believe you might fit.
Okay.
People who want to grow, who can benefit from strategic thinking. And when I hear you talk about your skills of asking questions and framing up a challenge and looking at what a solution is or an opportunity is, that's a strategist. You are a strategist. You are someone, I believe, who can define the problem by asking good questions to put what is abstract into a concrete clarity. And when I think about when I have used similar skills like that, I'm using those skills right now, actually. I have worked at Kauffman Foundation. I was working as a facilitator for the Fast Track organization, teaching business planning skills to people who, just like me, were not qualified really to be there. And I found that because I could extract the key questions, I could certainly help people who were really struggling to get to that level of next step. And for some people, next step was just getting their head around marketing terminology that they'd never heard before, understanding what market research meant in the context of their business idea, or figuring out how to fund something and how to take it to market in a way that would create profitability and traction for them. That was an opportunity for me where I was using similar skills. And I was paid for that. I was recruited for that. Yes. So that was something that was really helpful to me. And how I got there was I took the class. I went in, I took the class, then met instructor who said, Elizabeth, you should come back and teach this. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's not possible. I don't have an MBA. I don't have any of the credentials. But the fact was, he saw I wanted to understand. And there's no better way to learn a subject than to go teach it.
Teach it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He got me, opened up the door. I was one of the youngest people they've ever hired at Kaufman to teach that program at 27.
Okay.
And I was working with people who were much older than me, but I was learning from them and they were kind enough to teach me. So my point is to put yourself in positions where you can use your skills to help other people. And often when I started, I gave away my skills. I would just visit with people who needed what I had to offer to build my portfolio of experience so that when opportunity would present itself, I had something to pull from to say, I've solved this problem for someone else. Let me try to do it for you.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to start kicking down that door.
Yeah.
You need experience with people you can make a difference for. So for example, the Women's Employment Network here in town.
Yep.
They are trying to help women get jobs. They are trying to help women think strategically about their career. If I were you, I would call up Sherry Turner and say,
Sherry
hi,
Turner.
Sherry, you're going to love this. You're now on YouTube. Sherry, what can I help with? Can I volunteer? Could I create a position and value for myself in this way? And those are ways to get started using these skill sets. But as you work on defining what you really want to do, which is asking the transformational questions, impacting organization or personal development, and growth strategy, either personal or professional. That sounds like to me what it is you really want to do. And it sounds like you want to do it for people who will appreciate the direction you can offer and then will take action on it.
Yeah.
So
otherwise we're wasting our time.
Right. And that means you're working with an organization that has a ton of people who have needs that you can help with. And it's important that you do what Frank has told you to do and just get crystal clear on the two or three things that you really want to be passionate about, the problem you want to solve, and who you want to work with to solve that problem. RuthAnn, you get really excited when you talk about people.
I do.
The minute we talk about taking what you know and applying it to people, you turn on.
Yeah.
You light up.
Yeah.
And so it seems like to me, in your perfect story of you are working with your skills to complement other people's skills. This is a people-driven problem where you can see results in the people using the information you've been provided to come up with a strategy for help. You help the people, you help the organization. And what I think is missing, I'm really curious to ask you, have you worked primarily with large organizations or small organizations?
I end up in large organizations and they put me off in the rogue group where you can do whatever you want except kill people and mortgage someone else's house. We don't care how you get it done, but get it done. Okay. And we do. Okay, so let's say this again. So that they have a problem and I translate it how to solve it.
Yes.
So what I've done is I've gone through the process of asking the important questions.
Yes.
And then I translate it, but I don't produce a lot of paper because people never read all the paper. They don't read the big notebooks. They only care about, they might read an executive summary. They really want the one paragraph at most that solves it.
Well, it's the core of the fourth most important decision a person makes in
Yes.
an individual's life, marriage, faith, and kids being the first three. This is all about that career decision, and it's massively important. I mean, makes the other three decisions a whole lot more fun, right? So this is not, that's why the elevator pitches and stuff drive me crazy. This is a core part of a person's life. So it deserves the work and the attention and the due diligence and all whatever else is involved to have a story and be able to communicate a story effectively that's worthy of you.
So much of this, guys, is iterative. It is an
Okay.
iterative process. In other words, you're failing forward. What you're doing next is not always exactly what you want to be doing, but it is so close to what you need that it prepares you for then the next step, that then prepares you for the next,
Yes.
that then prepares you for the next step. And you know, your propensity to get bored is probably a gift. And God is giving you that gift because you need to serve mankind in a way that is very special and unique. I never underestimate how people have been prepared uniquely for what they are being called to do. And trust me, in the times we live in, there's no time like the present to get crystal clear on the problems you're called to solve, because our world
Yeah.
needs problem solvers. Our world needs leaders to step up and start creating so much value for other people that there is agreement and we can agree on major problems this world needs solved with the money we have. And the money we have is talent. America, for example, and the globe, we have so many people who are so extremely talented, who, given an opportunity to apply their talent to a problem, can create profound measurable results. But we need a chance to plug people into problem solving. And that is part of what economy focuses on, is asking the question, what are you uniquely qualified to go after, solve, and add value, and create impact and make change. Our world needs people who are enabled to go lead and apply their talent and spend their money wisely, because money is anything you can use to solve a problem for someone else. Americans are insanely wealthy with education, credentials, experience, enthusiasm, belief. We can go do amazing things, but we've got to get in position to understand our core strengths and our definitions of success, our passions, what culturally we're looking for, and what we're best at, our story, in order to be successful.
I need to also mention, RuthAnn, when you have the story of you, quickest path really to your next engagement very often, another great reason to have lots of clarity is then go find people that are doing that which you want to do. Right?
Okay.
Does that
Right.
make sense? Because they're the ones that are
Yes.
going to hear about the opportunities in the arena where you want to play. So you have your global base of relationships, but then have a sub base of relationships where you go talk, become acquainted with the relationships with people that are doing what you want to do. Because I've seen it where people have talked with someone doing what they want to do and find out the person's going to retire, and they end up, taking that person's job when they retire. Or a
Yeah.
recruiter or someone calls someone up and says, I need a person that can help me understand this data and then help me implement some visionary things or whatever. And they're like, well, I'm not interested, but hey, you need to talk to RuthAnn. So that's the other advantage. You go talk to people that are doing what you want to do, and that can really help. And also too, your ability, lots of people get lots of data all the time, RuthAnn, but they don't have the ability to decipher the data. Understanding the meaning of the data is huge, big time important. So don't sell yourself short on that in that respect.
Okay.
All right. Well, this has been incredible. Would you like to take one more shot at the story of you, or do you feel like you want to take a pass on that for now?
I have all these notes. Okay. I constantly innovate. And to think strategically, to think about what's the best strategy, what's the best next move forward, and to find those questions to ask.
RuthAnn, I'm sorry, but I'd like to ask you to do this. Say you're talking to me, and you want to tell me your story. Here's how I want you to do it. Frank, here's what I'm passionate about. Boom. Here's the culture my style best maps to, and here's what I'm great at. Do it like that.
Okay.
So start with, because I'm saying, hey, RuthAnn, what do you want to do? What kind of company? What size company? Where do you want to live? Blah, blah. Hey, Frank, look, relax. Let me take you through it, Frank. Here's what I'm passionate about. This is what I want to do. This is the culture I best map to, and this is what I'm great at. And Frank, I only have one more question to answer. In what sector, with what company am I going to leverage those three things to create the greatest amount of opportunity for all?
I'm passionate about asking those transformative questions about what happens and comes next. And the culture, I want to be around nice people. I want to be around people I like, where I could dress reasonably nice, wear comfortable shoes, and wear my pearls. What am I great at? I'm great at, honestly, I need to constantly innovate. And part of it is what's that next strategy to people. And I really like working with people. And how do people work within the organization, or it's just individuals? And that's all I got.
Bingo.
Now, Frank, what sector or industry could I leverage this in?
No, wait, RuthAnn, it's Frank. You just told me, right? So that Frank, there's only one more question to answer.
Okay.
What company, and what sector can I leverage those three things to create the greatest amount of value and impact for all?
Okay, Frank, just one more question. What's the company, the sector where I can best leverage those three things to create the best value for all?
Was this helpful?
Oh, this was very helpful. I mean, this is probably the best thing I've done all year. Well, maybe this isn't a good year to use. Maybe the last 2 or 3 decades. I wish I had done this long ago, long ago. The world would be a better place if I had done this decades ago. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
I believe, RuthAnn, we're going to do a follow-up call with you as you make
Okay.
progress, and I can't wait to report on what happens next with you.
Okay.
You are in the story, and the story is like the clay on the potter's wheel. You are in motion right now, and the one thing I know for sure, doing the spiritual work with people that I do, is that God has purpose behind and can use our pain. He can use all things together for good. All right. Well, we have had an incredible session here. I look forward to also providing an update on what happens with RuthAnn as she moves forward. I would ask that you please subscribe to the Economy of One YouTube channel. We really could use your support. I also invite you to link in with me and Frank Bonura on LinkedIn. And if you'd be so kind as to sign up for our newsletter. This is on the Economy of One website, where if you can go to the homepage and sign in for our newsletter, you will get a weekly update on all of the events and resources that we have to help you in this process. If you can relate to RuthAnn's story, if you can relate to her pain, if you can relate to her feeling stuck and just misunderstood in where she's at in her career, then you need to be working with us. You need to join a small group. You need to understand how to tell the story of you so that you can go and be an economy of one. We have a Facebook group called The Economy of One, or Economy of One. If you ask to join, it's a private group. This is a group that focuses on all the things that unite us, and we are looking to add financial impact to every person who's part of that group. This group is going to be the largest global community of people who are committed to helping one another move measurably forward financially in times such as this. We need each other, and we need positive news and encouragement, and we need to find a way to communicate the 80% of jobs that are not posted. The algorithms are hurting us, and so this channel is committed to posting what you know to people who want it and can pass it to other people who need it. So please join us. This is not just simply a class. This is a mission. And we are out to change the 80% of people who hate what they do and don't know what to do about it. Please join us. Our workbook is available on Amazon.com, and we would appreciate a review, comments. Please feel free to contact us. Thank you so much for joining us today.
RuthAnn, heartfelt thank you to you.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. This has been so helpful.